Kodak, in the year when they went bankrupt, filed for 200 patents, 200 innovations in that year. They innovated themselves into bankruptcy because they innovated something the market did not want. So pretty clear that we will talk about issues that are current and not historic, and that's a big thing. So what I would suggest, instead of a textbook, all of you have internet access here while you're on campus, you probably have it outside too in your dorm, that you look at newspapers. New Zealand Herald, Wall Street Journal, New York Times, Straits Times of Singapore. Who knows how to spell Straits Times? S-T-R-A-I-T-S. It's not straight like being straight in a line. It's the strait between the water between two islands. So S-T-R-A-I-T-S, Straits Times. That's Singapore. Maybe CNN. Something that's a credible news outlet. Go to the business tab. Never buy a subscription. You don't need that. Just look at the headlines and you will quickly see that in the 4 areas that we're talking about, success and failure, strategy, governance, and global, there is always something exciting, and that's what we talk about. So that on current issues, you can understand the issue, you can work towards management solutions, and out of that you develop a skill that makes you worthwhile to be hired in New Zealand or elsewhere as a junior manager. And those that were here at orientation, the first thing I told those people, and some of you will remember, is that we'd love to have you here. Welcome to Massey, you're paying our income, thank you. But we even more love to get you out of here. You should not linger here. This should not be your permanent home. After you finish your master's, we want you to go on and do great things. And in order to do that, you need the best first job that gets you the best next job, that gets you the job you really want. And that only works if you get the best first job. That means you have to be in the interview assertive, strong. You have to show that you can solve problems. You have to show that you understand issues. And you have to look at things from more than just one discipline. And most of you come from countries where specialization is very important. You get a master's in something because you have an undergraduate in something and you become super specialized. Well, in New Zealand, 97% of firms have fewer than 20 employees. That means that in New Zealand, in all firms, most people are generalists, not specialists. And the difference between specialists and generalists is that generalists do more than one thing at the same time. You always overlap. The marketing person does a little bit of sales, the HR person does a little bit of answering the phone, the general manager of the warehouse also does some packaging and does some customer complaints and whatever else. Everybody does more than one thing. If you want to be marketable in a country where we have many smaller firms that earn good money, we're doing very well. This is a small island in the Pacific. The next neighbors that we have are 50 million penguins in the Antarctic. They are closer than Australia. And even Australia that's next to us is only 26 million people. If we take Shenzhen, Guangzhou, and Hong Kong together, 26 million people? A lot more than that, right? So a group of 3 towns is all of Australia. Yeah. And that's our nearest big friend. Well, that's not a big friend, is it? It's kind of a tiny little friend, like a little dwarf. Economically not very helpful. So when we look at this country that has a really good healthcare system, really good roads, really good lifestyle, that is so isolated and so small with 4.5 million people, we must be doing something right. Because with very few people, we live better on average than most of the countries on average that you represent, with many more people. So when you think about that, in New Zealand, some things that we do quite well. One of them is that our people are very intense in their contribution. They are very active. They contribute on their own. They think about their jobs and their companies all the time. And they make suggestions. They help out. They contribute. They don't wait until their manager tells them something. They do it on their own. Imagine what that means if you have 20, 15, 25 people who don't just switch off on Friday afternoon at 5 and never think about company until Monday morning, 8 o'clock. We have a whole weekend. You walk around down the street and you see a product that you say, wow, that's something we should do and we can do it better. Well, you take out your phone, you take a picture, you make a note, and Monday morning you talk to your manager, I think this is a product we should think about. That's the kind of engagement we expect here when we hire people, and that's the engagement we will work at in this course. So I told you about me. I represent the group of faculty here that isn't just an academic, I do that okay, but also someone who is working in running very large firms, global business. So we will conduct this course on the basis that this is not students and professors. In most universities, students are about there, and the professor is somewhere up there next to the sun. And that means that the communication is not working well. That means that you will go, oh my gosh, I couldn't possibly say anything. Here we are much more like managers and CEO. I pay you, I give you value, I'm here to help you. In return, I want to know that you are with the program, that you're picking things up, that you're understanding things, that you can mull things over, and the next time we meet, you have different questions. And like at work, we have a very effective communication system. For most of you that are here in the groups, obviously Facebook. Stream is the depository, everything goes on Stream, but communication-wise, it kind of sucks. So Facebook's much faster. For the distance people, Facebook. For the offshore people, WeChat and or Facebook. And for the Manawatu people, it's also Facebook. So if you post something, you will rarely wait for more than 10 minutes before you get an answer. And some of you have seen that. You have posted something and within seconds, there is a response. Okay? I'm not waiting for it, but when it comes, I'll handle it like at work and you move on. Slight exception is tomorrow. I'm working in Europe tomorrow and on Saturday morning, so with the travel out and so forth, there may be a couple of hours delay, but even there I normally can respond. And Facebook catches you everywhere. Those of you that are in the distance group, in the Manawatu group, and here in the Auckland group, some of you can also be on WeChat, no problem. But you need to be on Facebook for the purpose of the assessment, because Facebook is much easier for you to operate. It is much easier for us to operate. And those of you who don't understand Facebook yet, if you know WeChat, then Facebook is like a WeChat on steroids, on turbo. It has more things you can do, but otherwise it's the same thing. Somebody posts, you're in a group, you respond, boom, done. We will talk a lot about networking. Can I get a quick response, lady in the red t-shirt? What is networking?
Networking is basically try to communicate and gain knowledge from other people.
Okay, so we have communication in there and we have other people in there.
Okay.
Why do you care? Why do you care about other people? You have people next to you, they're just beautiful and they're happy, so why do you need any more people?
We don't care about other people, but we care about ourselves, so that we can understand and gain knowledge.
Very good. So we have communication, we have other people, and we have the fact and the respect that other people know different things, often know more things if they're older. Some don't know more when they're older, but most do. And therefore they have value. You will on average be here in New Zealand for at least 1 year. You've probably been here for a couple of weeks. You will have a chance to meet different people if you want to. You speak Mandarin as your main language, right? Yes? I'm looking at you, I'm pointing at you, it's you. So what's the answer? You speak Mandarin?
No.
No, what do you speak?
Cantonese.
Cantonese. Oh, sorry about that. Okay, so are there other Cantonese speaking friends that you have here?
Here?
Yeah.
My neighbor.
Your neighbor. And when you speak with your neighbor, do you speak English or Cantonese? Cantonese, of course. That's the easiest, right? You meet a Russian, you will speak Russian, right? It's much easier. I speak with a German and they want to speak English. So the point is that when you have a chance here to engage with people, most of you will do it the easiest way possible. You'll do it in Hindi or in Punjabi, whatever works for you. But you have a great opportunity that while you're here, your English can improve, which is part of why you're coming, right? So you don't improve your English by speaking Tagalog every day. So make an effort to network for two reasons. One is language. Don't learn a third language. You don't have to go connect with him because you want to learn Russian. That's probably not going to work. And you speak Russian as well, don't you, Kazakhstan? So you end up ultimately making life hard for you. But English. If you just speak 10, 15, 20 minutes more English every day than you normally do, you learn something. Watch the news at night. Not the Hong Kong Daily, but the New Zealand news. What time does the news start in New Zealand? 6 o'clock. All right. TV1. We only have one real TV channel. It's a small country, so that's it. So, and then they repeat it for those that are a little slow. So when you end up, and the news is always a repeat from last day's news from other countries, so it's actually quite easy. You get it 3 times. So what we have here is we have an opportunity to network for language, but also for experience. How many hands up? How many of you, if you find a good job in New Zealand, will stay in New Zealand? Okay, that's about nearly everybody. Very good. So let's think about for a moment, what is the function of networking while you're here at school that connects to a job after school? Sir in the white shirt. How does networking relate to you wanting to find a good job to stay in New Zealand? Speak up. Is networking helpful or not?
It's helpful.
Good. Why?
Because it can connect other country or other communication.
Okay, and now listen to the question again. You're on the right track. If you want to get a good job after you finish school, how does networking help?
Oh, I can go to in some website to find the opportunity, job opportunity.
Okay. In what industry do you want to work in the future?
Like bank? In the bank.
Banking, finance. All right. Do we have banks in New Zealand?
ANZ,
Yeah.
ASB.
Westpac. They're all Australian banks. When it says Bank of New Zealand, it's an Australian bank, just to confuse you. So when we have Kiwi Bank. That's the only bank that's New Zealand made. Otherwise, our credit union. So when you decide that you want a career in banking and finance when you finish, do you start to network with people that already have jobs in banking when you finish your studies or today? Today. So you have a year's worth of time to connect with people. I bet you if you look at it, there will be an open house at a bank somewhere in Auckland today, tomorrow, where they want to recruit, where they want to tell you what they do, and you can go. Will you learn something? Probably. Will you get hired? No, because you have to first finish school. But will you then get business cards? When you have business cards from people that are already in banking, are they ahead of you? People that are ahead of you, can you learn from them? That's what we want to do. And then you take those business cards, and in 6 months from now, when you see the end of the studies ahead, you write to them and you say, I met you. I was so impressed with you. I don't know how you did it to be so successful. But I want to learn from you. And can I please buy you lunch sometime in the next 2 or 3 weeks to understand how you became such a star in banking? If you did that in India, they would think you're sick or in prison. If you did this in China, the psychiatrist will come and take you away. Here in New Zealand, we train most managers to give back. You will, out of 10 of those letters that you send or emails, you will probably get 2, 3, 4 responses. And one will say, I can buy my own lunch, I can do next Friday. The other 2 will say, what are you really selling? So you have at least one interview out of that. Interviewing someone who knows more than you to understand what you do. So networking is important. And networking is something that I cannot do for you. You have to do that yourself. I will write great reference letters when you're finished. I will be a great referee for your job interviews. No problems at all. I can lie really well. What are you talking about? Oh, brilliant person. So we help you get a job, no question about that. But you earn that by participating here and at the same time networking on your own. This is not an academic course as such. It uses academic ways of teaching you. We look at material, we make decisions on facts, we meet, we use social media in addition to that. So we're blending practice into the work. Like at work, I do not expect that my managers are perfect and give the best answer all the time. If they did that, they had my job.